You're welcome, Mr. Celestine. You're welcome, Frank. We're glad you're here. All right. If you can see my screen, um, type yes, please. Oh, thank you, sir. I'm trying to. I'm trying to invite more persons. Remind them, okay? So they can join us. Right. All right, a very good evening to us all, and welcome to this month's edition of Agric Inspire webinar. It's a privilege to be your host. I am Coach Shoma Perpetua, and let's take this ride together. The whole purpose of this webinar, or the series of our webinar, is to inspire us all towards agriculture, to change our perspective on how we see farming generally. Okay, so if we eat every day, then we should be interested in learning how the food we eat comes about, right? So if you can hear me clearly, just type 777. If you can hear me clearly, type 777. Great. Thank you very much, sir. So we'll get started. All right. Like I said, the whole idea is for us to begin to have a change of mindset about what agriculture is all about, and also for us to begin to do something, okay? Become food secured, become food sufficient. If we eat our food, if we're entitled to eating, then we are entitled to learning how our food comes about. Just look at these pictures. Take a close look at these pictures. When you look at these pictures, what comes to your mind? Like we can see a man here who is in his farm working. And we can see some women in their farm also working. We see some people weeding, and we see some people tilling, and we see a woman also carrying out a harvest from the farm. Before now, we already have a poor image of what agriculture is, of what farming is, probably because of how tedious we think it is, or how tedious we see it has been. Okay? The pictures above may not depict attractiveness. They may not look so attractive. But you see, in the heart of those people is a deep satisfaction. There's a deep satisfaction that comes from partnering with nature. Okay? And the truth is that because of what we are seeing, we have seen farming to be, a lot of us don't want to be associated with farming. But today, we want to begin to do a mind shift. We want us to begin to have, a rethink. Because the truth is that why some of us may not want to be associated with this type of farming, because it is, it's tedious. All right. Just like the mechanics on the roadside, their work is tedious. However, the truth is that we cannot do completely without farming. Imagine everybody deciding against farming. All right. How do we get our food? Who fixes our vehicles if all decides against learning mechanics? While I am not supportive of agricultural drudgery, that is hardship, difficulty in farming, the local ways, the traditional method of farming, I refuse it as an excuse for non-productivity. And just like we see amongst our youth today, a lot of them has gone into fraudulent living. Fraudulent living is not justifiable. What is a solution generally? A paradigm shift in the way we think. While we work with what we have, we trust that we will get to that time when our government will begin to make things available for us to begin to make farming easier. Okay? So we need to begin to change the way we think. We need to begin to teach our young ones that farming is not that unattractive. It's beautiful. Even as it is now, involving yourself in farming actually gives a sense of deep satisfaction. So what is the solution? A paradigm shift in the way we think. How many of us are Bible students here? Do you know what Proverbs 23 verse 7 says? If you know what Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, just type it on the chat. All right, I'm going to save us some time. Okay. It says that as a man thinks, so is he. So also, farming is what you make of it. You can think of farming as a pressure or as a pleasure. For me, farming is beautiful. It gives me satisfaction. Okay. But if you see it as a pressure, then it becomes a tedious lifestyle. So I want all of us to begin to see farming as a way of life, as a pleasure. Enjoy it. It's beautiful. Imagine planting something and then, after some time you come and see it as budded and then it's flowering and then it's fruiting. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting. So try it. Try plant something around you and watch it grow. Like we all know, the four necessities of life are what? Food, water, clothing, and shelter. All of these are agriculture. You cannot get, for you to get food, you have to do farming. Okay, for us to have access to water, clothing, and shelter, they are all related to agriculture. What does it tell us? It tells us that agriculture is an integral part of our lives. And so agriculture is a necessity. Now look at this picture. Do you like what you see? It's beautiful. I mean, farmers, these are farmers. They look good, right? Okay, farming is beautiful. I must tell you all, farming is beautiful. Actually, most of this picture here is me watering the farm, harvesting okra, feeding cows. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It gives joy. It gives satisfaction. Okay. Now, for us, before we can go into the opportunities in agriculture, we need to know what agriculture is, because until the purpose of a thing is known, abuse is inevitable. I see a lot of us want to just jump into the opportunities in agriculture, and eventually, if it doesn't work out like a business thing, you go into it with a business mindset, and eventually, if it doesn't work out, some persons get frustrated. Okay, now agriculture is simply a culture, just like the name. It's a culture of growing plants and animals. It's a culture, a way of life. So what is culture? Culture is simply what? A way of life. For us to begin to harness, the opportunities in agriculture, we must begin to see it as what? A way of life. We must begin to make the growing of plants and animals a way of life. And so agriculture can be practiced either as homestead or as a commercial or commercial basis. Okay. If you're following, type 777. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Frank. All right. Great. That's my code. Oh, my boss. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you for the response. Great. So I told us that agriculture can be practiced either at home, which we call homestead farming, or as a business. Okay. And that is where we have the commercial farming. All right. So we'll start with homestead farming. What is homestead agriculture? Homestead farming or agriculture is simply the practice of growing plants and animals at home. Is that gotten? Simply growing what? Your plants and animals at home. Now, in homestead farming, the focus is about selling and making profits. It's mainly about having enough food for the home. So you are not buying most of what the family needs. Is that okay? Like this evening, I told my sister to just get around and pick some things for our stew, right? We don't need to go out to buy anything. So she just walked into the home garden and pick some vegetables and then other things that we need to make our stew. All right. So you see, you are not buying most of what the family needs. However, even though this may not necessarily be bringing money into your pocket, it translates to saving huge amounts of money in the family funds. Why? Because you wouldn't have to spend on what you already have, right? And what is implication? You are minting money for yourself privately. Imagine you're supposed to spend, say, 5,000 naira buying tomatoes. You walk into your garden and you get the tomatoes. Imagine you had to spend like, 500 naira on vegetables. You walk into your garden and you get the vegetables and you use it. You eat it fresh. It's beautiful, and you're saving money while you are also, building your health well, eating healthy. Okay, so imagine planting yams in 360 empty bags. Just line them around your compound fence. You know what it means? In a few months, you will have 360 tubers of yams. And that translates to having 1 tuber of yam a day for 360 days. Wow. 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 Interesting, right? So imagine planting yams and having, yams. The cost of yams in the market. You'll be saving a whole lot of money doing that. So what do? You simply walk into your garden and thereafter make yourself fresh meals all the time. So even if you don't have refrigerators, you could just make do with your garden, right? Great. So now this is just pictures of some homestead, of some homestead garden farms. All right. So you see that this is a flower pot where water leaf was just planted, and we have another place here, just one side of the compound. All right. You have pawpaw growing there, about 2-3 trees of pawpaw around here. Then you have your bags here where vegetables are planted. And this is a backyard. A backyard where different vegetables, pepper is being planted. And also you have some livestock moving around here. Hello? So you see that while growing your crops, you're also growing your animals. And sometimes when you need to make an emergency stew soup, you just walk to your backyard, and then you pick what you need. Interesting, right? How many of us would love to readily make our meals from our backyard? If you love to do that, say, yes, I'd love to. Just type it on the chat. Say, I'd love to have my meals readily made from my backyard. Okay. If you've not experienced this, you need to experience it. Good idea. Good. I would love to. You need to experience it. Sometimes I'm a very busy person. Sometimes when I come back late, I may realize that I didn't have time to go to market again. So what do? I just go to my backyard, get things. Several times that happened several times. God will really help me. Get things, get my water leaf, get my ugu, and get other things, the fish. I have oil here. So I just make meals. And I didn't go to market. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And when I had my potato harvest, oh my God, it was awesome. It was awesome. So we need to experience this. It's beautiful, I must tell you. So homestead is actually the solution to us becoming food sufficient. Imagine that you don't have all the money, but you can actually get the food you and your family can eat from your backyard. The stress will be minimized. So I want to encourage us all, if you don't have a homestead, start one. Please start one, okay? By all means, start one. If you don't have the space at home, get buckets, get bags, fill them with sand, plant your pepper, plant your tomatoes, plant anything, plant your bitter leaf, plant your ugu, plant your water leaf. These things grow on their own. They don't need so much attention. It's very beautiful to walk into your backyard and get these things. You really love it. Okay, so that's it about homestead farming. However, in the time and age we are in, we all know that having alternative sources of income is not something we should begin to negotiate about. It's something that we all must be deliberate about. And agriculture actually offers that. So you can decide to look at commercial agriculture either as a main source of income or as an alternative source of income. So what is commercial agriculture? Commercial agriculture is simply farming as a business. Right? It's simply farming as a business. So what is business? Business is all about what? Investment and returns, okay, with accompanying business plans. So when you're doing business, you draw out your business plan and then investment and expect returns. And agriculture is a win-win option. So if you're thinking about investment, if you're thinking about expansions, commercial agriculture is a very viable option. And again, given the rise in population of Nigeria, given the rise, you know, in so many things, you know, the valuation of currency and everything, you know, Nigeria currently is above 200 million people. And even though 3 is not a square, we believe that there should be a 3 square meal every day. And what does that imply? It implies an almost insatiable demand on food supply. So you see, we can't have enough farmers. As long as we have people who are eating, we can't have enough farmers. And that's why we must begin to think about farming as an alternative source of income or as a main source of income. So why should we think about commercial agriculture? Now take a look. In just 2017, Lagos alone consumed 6,000 cows a day. That was 2017. No. Now, this is minus the figures at the abattoir, the birthday party, various ceremonies, and the rest of them. And of course, we know in this part of the world, until we get cows, various ceremonies are not complete. I agree with you, Mr. Gospower. We can't have enough farmers. We can't. Now, in 2022, the New Times newspaper reported that Lagos State consumes an estimated 328 billion. Wow, that was in 2022. You know, only one state consuming billions of, 328 billion naira worth of cow meat per annum. Oh my God. Oh my God. So you see, this tells us that there is huge opportunity here. Now, you know that about 98% of cattle consumed here in Nigeria is from the northern part of the country or from across the border. So what happens to other parts of the country? Why are we not rearing cows? Why? Do you know that, of course, we all know the tomato saga, how expensive tomato has been, even though just recently the price dropped. We're going to know why that happened. Okay, but for a long time now, tomato has been very expensive. Because do you know, as tomato is now, we still import tomato. Why? When we have vast arable lands largely underused, why are we doing that? Why? We shouldn't be doing we shouldn't be importing what we can grow ourselves. What does it tell investors? This is an opportunity to look at. Right? We don't need to invest, we don't need to import what we can grow here. Now imagine someone dedicating to rear cows or grow tomatoes on a commercial base. That will surely translate to huge returns. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because the market is what? Readily available. Okay. The market is readily available. So we must begin to think very seriously about this thing. So why are we having this webinar today? We're having this webinar today because we want to talk about opportunities. What are the opportunities in the agro sector? All right? Agribusiness opportunities are simply business opportunities within the agriculture sector. Now, in agribusinesses, we can decide to do either of three things. We can decide to produce, or we can decide to process, or we can decide to market. All right? So any of these three, it's okay. You're an agribusiness. In fact, when I started my agribusiness, I started with marketing. All right? I uptake from poultry farmers. I supply, even though I still do it today, I supply to individuals, eateries, and I make my profits. Okay, so you determine how much you want to make. You can decide to produce. You can decide to process, or you can decide to market. Okay, the value chain is there for you. Now, the agricultural sector contributes just a little above 20% to the overall GDP of the country. This can be more than this. It can actually be more than this. How? When we all begin to do something in the agri sector. Why? Because the agri sector is one of the most flourishing sectors, if not the most flourishing sector of the Nigerian economy. Now, with proper strategic planning, anyone with just basic knowledge of farming and or manufacturing operations can start a profitable agriculture business. You don't need to go to school to start the business. Just the basic knowledge of farming, you are in business. All right? So you also don't need huge capitals. You don't need huge capital. And the most surprising of it was that you don't need a farmland to enter into agricultural business. That's true. You don't need a farmland. So if you have a little piece of land in your backyard, you can still plant some crops in small or vertical containers and get most out of your space. All right? So if you have land, good. If you don't have land, still good. You can start the business. Is that okay? You can start the business. Now, if you have land, you have an advantage. If you don't have land, I'm sure you know people that have land, right? You can walk up to them and ask them for their space. And I'm sure a lot of them will be willing to oblige because a lot are looking for people to utilize their land while they are yet ready to build. Okay, so you can make huge income. Every 3 months, you can plant vegetable crops and you're having a good return on investment every 3 months. Okay, so what are the various options in the agribusiness? What are the various options? So if you're looking to starting an agro business, but you don't know what to venture into, I'm going to suggest some business ideas you can start with. All right. And these business ideas have huge customer base here in Nigeria, other African countries, and many other places around the world. The first idea I'm going to suggest is vegetable farming. And of course, you've heard me talk about vegetable farming before now. Tomatoes is vegetable, cucumber, cabbage, carrots. Yes, we can grow carrots here. All right. We can grow cucumber here. We can grow cabbage here. We can grow pumpkin. Oh my God. Pumpkin makes huge income. You can grow pepper, okra, many others. I've grown okra on my half plot of land and I made huge income from it. Okay, I planted another one now while I'm still enjoying from it. Okay, I planted another one now just at my backyard. So what do? You just secure fertile farmlands, all right? Secure fertile farmlands and get the basic resources needed. And this would include labor and a trusted distribution system. So like I said earlier, if you don't have land, if you have land, beautiful, maximize it. Don't stop leaving it fallow. Please go and cultivate on it. All right, go and cultivate on it. You can do it. You can just get, labor that can help you do it. If you can do yourself, get labor that can help you do it. Or if you have small machinery, small farm tools, like hand tractor, you can do it by yourself. All right. So go and cultivate it. However, if you don't have land, you know people that have land, but they are not developing it yet. You can go and meet them and talk with them. Okay, you can talk with them to lease the land, or you can talk with them to give you the land while they are still waiting to develop it. And you plant your vegetable there. Try it. Every 3 months, you will be amazed at the income you'll be generating from that piece of land. Another business option here is horticulture business. Now, horticulture is a broad term used to describe the practice of growing garden crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers. In fact, we see it mainly as flower business. Do you know that most of these people will see planting flowers, selling flowers along the road, that they're making huge income? I have friends. And if I tell you how much they make there, you'll be amazed. And you think that they're not doing anything, they're doing huge. And they're not paying for the land space because they're beautifying the states. Amazing. Oh, look, ask people who want to do landscaping and they will tell you how much they're spending on buying flowers. Horticulture business is a beautiful, easy to do business. What do? Just get your nursery bags, put fertile soil inside and plant your flowers. And as they're growing, customers are coming and they're picking them. Now look at this farmland. Look at this farmland. It's a commercial vegetable farming. Where we planted tomato, somewhere at Ohaji. This is 3 hectares of land. We planted tomato. It's just a month old now. We transplanted it and they're already fruiting. I see. They're already fruiting. Right? So we planted tomato on about 3 hectares of land. And this is just about 6 weeks old. That was last month we transplanted. And the harvest is promising. Look at the fruits. And the fruits are just coming out. So promising. All right. So you can imagine, multiply this on a 3 hectares of land. You can imagine what it translates to. Okay. So if you're thinking about commercial farming, you can think about vegetable farming. You can think of pepper. You can think of tomatoes. You can think of garden eggs. Oh my God, the option is limitless. The option is limitless. Just think of a particular, vegetable and invest in it. Invest in it. Get labor that will do that for you, or you can get equipment to, cultivate the land for you. You will love it. Once the harvest starts coming out, you will love it. Even the whole process of, cultivating is beautiful. It's satisfying. Okay. Another option we can look at is the livestock farming. Already I've talked about cow rearing. There is huge opportunity for cow rearing down here. Okay. And for decades, people have practiced livestock farming locally and in their respective homes. When you look at that homestead picture I showed you, there are chickens at the backyard, and some can also rear snails, even goats in their house. Okay. But you see, the massive demand for meat and meat products in our time now makes it difficult for existing nomadic and domestic livestock to cater for the market. There is massive demand for meat. There is massive demand for milk. There is massive demand for a whole lot. So there is a whole demand, there is a whole pressure on the existing nomadic farmers. What does it tell you? That there is room for new investors to dive into advanced livestock farming, right? So you just determine which livestock has a high market demand in your area, and then focus on getting the right species of the animals in question. For example, chicken, right? You can decide to invest in rearing poultry, maybe broilers or layers. It gives huge income, okay? You can decide to invest in goat rearing. You can decide to invest in snails. The opportunities are limitless. Now, livestock farming, yes, comes with its demands, but it is one of the most valuable money-making agribusiness ideas in Nigeria, in Africa, and many other places around the world. Livestock farming gives huge, huge income. You can decide to rear cows for getting milk. You know how expensive milk is now, right? You make your yogurt from milk, you make a whole lot of products from milk. So you can decide to rear this livestock for either milk or meat, all right? So it's not about you coming to the point of saying, yeah, this is what I want to do. How about snail farming? Oh my, I've done a webinar on snail farming before now. Okay, maybe after now, if you're interested, you can ask for the replay. I'll send it to you. Snail farming is a money in Nigeria or anywhere around the world. Business is that entrepreneurs can venture very small startup resources. Okay, so once you have the right species of snails in place, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. So once you have the right species of snails in place, a snail house and feed, you are good to go. And their feed are easily accessible. You may not have to buy too many, just like the chicken and the rest. You may not have to spend so much buying their feed. You can source it locally. Okay. Okay, good. So it's an agricultural business that you can start right from the comfort of your home without having to disrupt your regular daily activities, right? Another business opportunity we can look at for in the agribusiness, which I've already talked about, but I'm going to emphasize more on it now, is poultry farming. The Nigerian poultry farming sector has produced over 450 billion tons of poultry meat and 3.8 million eggs as of 2018. And of course, you don't need to be told that this has increased. Okay. Do you know that despite such an annual production rate, the industry still struggles to cater for the great market demand? Yeah. Mr. Clement says, I hope I encourage Imolites into dwarf breed farming. Okay, great. And insect farming for sheep. That's true. Livestock feeding. We're going to talk about that. Okay. So poultry farming, despite the huge production we already have on ground, we still do not have, we're still not meeting with the market demand. Okay. And so even though poultry farming seems like it is highly saturated, The sector has room for more entrepreneurs in Nigeria. I'm a poultry farmer. I offtake from poultry farms, and I am still looking for more, birds to supply to my clients. I'm still not meeting up with the demands that come my way every day. Okay, so there is huge room in the poultry sector. Okay, so with the right production and marketing strategy and a strong distribution channel in place, you can build a successful poultry business, poultry farming business. Yes, you can. You can. Okay. Do you know that another opportunity we can look at for the agro sector is the meat processing and delivery business? Oh my. Oh my. Now, like I told us earlier, that it's not just in production. If you want to go into agribusiness, you must not necessarily produce. You can process, you can market. Okay. Now, meat dealers in Nigeria smile to the bank regularly. Why? Because they enjoy a constant demand across the country. As of 2019, Nigeria alone consumed 360,000 tons. That was 2019, that's a long time ago, of beef per annum. And that's about half the entire volume consumed in West Africa. Nigeria is a huge consumer market. Now, of course, without being told, these figures have quadrupled. That's quadrupled, and it will keep increasing. What does it imply? That the meat processing business is bound to increase in value over time in Nigeria. So if you don't have the space to produce, you can go into partnership with producers. And then you get it, you clean it up, you pack it, and then you supply. It's a huge income generating business. Okay. Oh my God. Bee farming. We talked about bee farming in May earlier. It's an interesting aspect of agriculture. In fact, the beauty of bee farming is that you do literally nothing. Yeah, you just get your beehives, position them, and then after some time, you go and harvest your honey and other bee products, because there are a lot of other bee products. In May, we hosted one of the finest bee farmers and on Agric Inspire webinar, and he exposed a whole lot to us about bee farming. You know. So honey has multiple uses across diverse industries in Nigeria and all over the world, okay? Ranging from food production to skincare, even to medicine, all right? And this makes it a highly demanded product, both in Nigeria and other parts of Africa, right? So usually honey is preferred to sugar as a sweetener. Personally, I don't use sugar anymore. I prefer using honey or natural sweetener, okay? Because it has various multi-health benefits. But do you know that the local honey production industry in Nigeria still struggles to meet up with the annual demand each year? We don't have enough honey in this nation. We're not producing enough. So you can think of, bee farming as a good, business option. So despite the production of over 16,000 tons of honey, Nigeria still imports honey worth about $8 million. That is long ago. Now it's even much more from China and other places annually. So this is a great opportunity for honey production in Nigeria. So if you are thinking of commercial agriculture or even homestead agriculture for your use at home, you can think of bee farming, right? You can begin to fill in the supply chain gap. And like I said earlier, the best part is that it requires very little startup capital. You don't buy feed for honey, for bees. You don't buy feed for bees. The bees, you just set up your beehive well, and then the bees come, colonize it, and begin to produce honey. All you just need to do is after some time, you just go and harvest your honey, and then you make your money, right? Or you have access to, good, um, healthy sweetener source, right? So it's a very good business, agribusiness opportunity that we can look into. Oh, wow. The next one we're going to be looking at here is egg hatchery. Egg hatchery. I've not seen, I don't know if we have egg hatchery houses here. Egg hatchery is a huge business. As of today, we are buying a day-old chick for about 1,300 or more. So if you're buying 100 pieces, that is 130,000 naira. Wow. 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 So you find out that this is a huge opportunity that one can begin to think of. Okay. And funny enough, most of the egg hatchery businesses are in the West. We don't have anyone here in the East. We can begin to think about having such businesses down here in the East. Okay. So if you're considering starting a poultry farm, you can also get to make a lot of profit through egg hatchery. All right, just like a fish hatchery too. Oh, a lot of funds are made through fish hatchery. All right, so if you are doing egg hatchery business, it's beautiful. If you are doing poultry business, you can consider egg hatchery, or you can consider just doing egg hatchery alone as a business. Oh, you have no loss. You will not regret it at all. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So for starters, it's best to get the best species of chicken, either layers or broilers, for this business. So you need to erect a safe and sustainable structure for hatchery, and other sources that may be needed is water, electricity, and labor. Because of the high cost of electricity, I usually advise that we consider solar. Okay, solar may be a good option in order to be sustainable, to run the business sustainably. Oh my, another option is mushroom farming. How many of us were at the Okobi program? I think that should be last week or last 2 weeks, where the woman talked about mushroom farming. In fact, it's a huge opportunity. Now, talk of one of the most underrated money-making agribusiness in Nigeria is mushroom farming. Mushroom farming is a low capital business. Oh, Ikeji Akuchika, were you there? You can chat, you can write yes. If you were there, if you listen to that Okobi webinar where we had someone talk about mushroom farming, you can say I was there. But if you have a question to ask, you can wait, just note it down after the lectures, you can ask your questions, okay? All right. So mushroom farming is a low capital business with minimal risk and high patronage. Now, people who understand the health benefits of mushroom prefer them to red meat. Now, similarly, doctors recommend mushrooms. Why? Because they are rich in vitamins that aid digestion and also vitamins that protect the heart. All right. Besides its great patronage that mushroom enjoys, it's very easy to cultivate, very, very easy to cultivate. With the right species and just a little moisture, mushroom yields massive produce within weeks. And there are huge, ways to process mushroom now. We have our mushroom meat pie, mushroom, a lot of things now. Mushroom donut, mushroom bread, okay? They are a large source of income, especially during the dry season when they're not readily available. So if you decide to cultivate mushroom, you are not making any mistake. Ikeji Akushika, I can see your hand raised. Just give us a little time. Once we are through, you can ask your questions, okay? Or you can drop it on the chat, all right? Oh, great. Ikeja Kushika says she was there. Great, 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 great. And I'm sure you found real value for it. I hope you also started your own mushroom farming. Great, great, great. Oh my. Another option in agribusiness is fish farming. Fish farming is a huge income generating agribusiness option we can decide to leverage on. All right. Now, why? Because with an annual average of 13.3 kg of fish consumed per person in Nigeria, per person, averagely consumes 13.3 kg. Who is producing this fish? Existing fish farmers find it difficult to keep up with the daily demands across the country. Fish farming is a promising business with high marketability. All right, and there is very little to worry about finding customers, very little. All right, so all you need to do is set up your fish farm in a good location, any busy space we do to make it easy for customers to reach you. All right, and to avoid excessive distribution cost. Just look for a busy place, position yourself strategically there, and do your fish farming there. Or you can take from fish farmers that are producing in the villages, and you're in business. All right, you can also do fish hatchery, all right, where you hatch fish and then you sell them as fingerlings or juvenile. That one is another boom. Like that one is another huge income generating business. If you decide to just do fish hatchery, I think a fingerling goes for about 100 naira now. So if someone buys 1,000 fingerlings, you can multiply it. And usually when you hatch fish, it produces millions of fries. And then you just raise them for about a week, about 2 to 4 weeks. You can now sell them as fingerlings or as juvenile. All right. So it's a huge income generating business. Please, if you're finding value from this webinar, type on the chat 777. Thank you, Mr. Frank. Thank you, Barrister Okebo. Thank you, Mr. Gosper. Good, I can continue. I'm sure that some persons are finding value and that has strengthened me to continue. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you. So another option we can look at is the animal feed production. Do you know that animal feed production can be a great source of income for entrepreneurs in Nigeria? Yeah. So ranging from fish feed to poultry feeds, the feed producers are making millions every day, like every day. I know how much I spend when I go to buy feed. Buying feed, oh my God. The feed producers are making millions, if not billions, every day. So it's a huge opportunity. And earlier, somebody talked about insect production towards feed production. Yes, I have friends who are into BSF, black soldier fly production. That is huge. That is huge. If we can begin to go into animal feed production, there is huge market for it. Very huge market for it. Now, to start this money-making agribusiness, what do you need to do? You just need to identify which set of animal feed to focus your resources on. All right? And this is because different animal feed requires various components. Right? You can decide to focus on poultry feed, producing feed for poultry, either broilers or layers. You can decide to focus on producing feed for goats. Now that we're thinking about producing our cows, if anyone decides to go into cow feed production, that is a huge opportunity. Even pig feed production is huge opportunity. So you just need to make a decision on the animal feed you want to begin to produce. Oh my, cocoa farming is another huge option. And these are options that you can just do and not put so much attention on it. It's a great money-making business in Nigeria. At the moment, Nigeria is the fourth largest producer of cocoa in the world, after Indonesia, Ivory Coast, and Ghana. And cocoa can be grown anywhere, but it's mostly found in the southwestern and Niger Delta region of the country, okay? Because trees perform better in regions with distributed rainfall. All right, so you can decide, if you're in these areas, you can, even if you're not in this area, you can decide to make water available, all right, and then grow your cocoa, and you have huge business opportunity. Huge business opportunity waiting for you. Maize farming is another option. You see, the options in agro sectors are too numerous that we have no excuse to remain idle. Too numerous. If you decide to just be planting maize, do you know that you are in huge business? Why? Because maize farmers enjoy great patronage across the country. Maize is used in the production of several commodities in the food and health industry. Yeah, ranging from flour, corn syrup, so many things that we use maize for. So many. Our pap, so many. Maize is used to produce feed also, animal livestock feed. Okay, and so many things. So if you decide that, oh, it's maize you want to plant, it's okay. Because of our weather, maize is a seasonal crop. However, why it's seasonal is because of rain. You can decide to, produce your own, give it your own, include irrigation, and you produce maize all year round. All right. However, it requires a suitable preservation method and proper storage facilities. As you are producing, also make plans for proper storage. All right. So with the right market facilities in place, maize farming is a highly lucrative business for anyone to venture into. I think currently a bag of maize goes for over 110,000 currently. So imagine if you're doing that on a commercial base, you planted maize on hectares of land, and after less than 3 months, you have your harvest, you dry them, and then you store well. You're in real money. Huge income generating business. So another option we can look at is cassava farming. Cassava is farmed very commonly around here. But despite the huge number of people farming cassava, we still don't have enough of it. Can you explain why Gari is expensive? A pinto of Gari now is about 4,000 naira. How many families can afford that? If a family consumes a pinto of Gari every day, how would they survive that kind of expense? So if we decide to go into cassava farming as a business, we will not be making any mistakes at all. All right. So cassava farming cassava is the third largest source of carbohydrates after maize and rice. It is used to make most tropical foods, including gari, cassava flake, tapioca, cassava flour, cassava chips, local apple or fufu meal. Now, how many of us here like to eat apple? If you have eaten apple before, say yes, I have eaten apple. Personally, I don't like apple. I prefer gari. Okay. So if you eat apple, say yes, I eat apple. That tells you that you have to cultivate cassava either on a small scale or on a large scale. Make sure you are cultivating cassava. We have huge value, huge use for cassava here. Okay. So almost every Nigerian household consumes one cassava product or the other on a daily basis. Even the bread we eat, most of them are cassava flour. So if you don't eat cassava as either gari or as fufu, you are eating it as bread. The market for cassava products is steaming, like there is so much gap to fill between production and demand. That's why it's expensive. And this is largely because cassava is grown only in the tropic and the farming process can be tedious. Well, yes, once tedious, but once you plant it, you just need to weed like once or twice and then you harvest. So this leaves room for new cassava farmers in Nigeria and all over the world. So if you're thinking of invest, you can think of cassava farming as a huge, opportunity to look into. Oh my, oh my. Palm oil production business. I am a palm processor. If you're a palm processor, say hi. Oh my, palm oil production business is massive, very massive, very, very massive. Everything, everything in everything in the palm system, in the palm fruit, actually, in the palm tree, actually is useful. And so if you're thinking of invest, you can look at palm oil production business. Another business opportunity we can look at is palm wine production business. Palm wine can be tapped from palm trees, and that is a good option if you are thinking of investing. All right. There are so many opportunities in the agri sector, so many. I didn't talk about piggery. I think that should be last 2 or 3 months. We hosted one of the best pig farmers and he gave us a huge lot. He told us a huge lot about pig farming. So piggery is another opportunity. Rabbit farming is another opportunity. I have friends into rabbit farming, goat farming, a whole lot. The opportunities in the agro sector are simply inexhaustible. But I believe you're already setting your mind on one. Congratulations in advance. However, to start any of these businesses, you must be sure to have a great passion for it. Think of what will happen if everyone in Nigeria practices homestead farming. Not only will there be sufficient food, also the cost in the market will be greatly reduced. You know what is happening in tomato now? Because there is huge harvest. So the price of tomato has crashed. That is the law of demand and supply. So if everyone begins to produce, we'll have enough food and we can become a food sufficient nation. So let's all go back to agriculture. Start a homestead. That way, we can achieve a food sufficient and secured society. Thank you also very much for your time. If you have any questions to ask, please, this is the time to ask. You can raise your hand and then you ask your question.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, mine is not a question, but I want to appreciate the teaching, the impact. Although this is my first time of joining the meeting, I think
Welcome.
it's a
Thank
very
you.
good idea and welcoming idea for we to, let me just say, is an advice or an adage to what you just said. Just additional to what you just said concerning home state. I think the first one you taught, you say something about planting within our surrounding is very, very important and necessary. Ah, so when you were showing us something that you have around your vicinity, in fact, I was so much overwhelmed. So if 50% of our Nigerian people or youth or families can start up something, just from the example you give here, I think it will reduce the rate of should I say poverty. To also reduce this rate of it will help to save money in terms of going to the market, buying one or two things. When you now turn your back, you see that you have it within your surroundings. So it will help us to save more money than going to the market. Number one, saving the transportation to go to the market. Number two, saving the money to buy one or two things at the market, whereas you have it around you. So it's a very good, welcome idea. So, and I applaud each and every one of us. We should start it in our various environments, in our home, in our backyard, or whatever. So, Coach Choma, I really appreciate your teaching and everything, the time and everything. You try to make sure that we are in line with agriculture. It's a very big thing. Well done, man. I really appreciate. Well done, man. Hello, hello, hello. Mm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma. Barrister Cable, I saw your hand up. Kindly unmute yourself and ask your question or contribution. Go ahead, we can hear you. All right, thank you. Barrister Cable, the floor is open for you. Okay, thank you everyone for your time. I want to appreciate every single one of you for taking your time to attend this webinar and also listening. Our joy will be complete when we see everyone start something. By all means, please start something. Even in your kitchen, you can start rearing snails. In your background, in your backyard, you can do something, you can cultivate something. It is when we start doing something that we can talk of food security. All right, Barrister Cable, do you still have something to say? Can you increase the volume? We can barely hear you, or you can drop a question. Oh, great. Ikeja Kushika says, thanks, ma'am. Well, I have a small farm at my PPA where I planted pepper, okra, turmeric, leafy vegetable. I harvested 2 pentas. Oh my, turmeric is so expensive. I harvested as much as 2 pentas. That is huge income. Oh, congratulations, Chika. Congratulations. I should have some of that turmeric. I don't think so. Thank you so much for your time. So you can type the question or the contribution on the chat. We can't hear you. Okay, thank you, Barrister. We see you asked your question, how can we protect our farms from thieves? Theft is a major challenge Yes, I agree. However, we can't say because of theft, therefore we will not cultivate. There are means we can employ means to protect our farms from theft. How do we do that? By first of all trying to do farming. We can do fencing for our farm, and we can also engage the local security. All right, we can engage in local security, or we can use things like some animals like dogs, okay, to protect our farms. All right. So yes, we can protect our farms from theft by building fence or by employing local security personnel, or, or using animals like dogs to protect our farms. Okay. By the time we employ one or more of these options, our farms will be adequately protected from theft. At this point, I want to thank everybody, and okay, okay. Thanks for this great mission. I'm so glad you did this. I'm Barrister Raymond James, and I have, great to meet you, Barrister James Raymond. Great to meet you. Thanks for your time. Okay, Barrister we are asking another one. Also, how do we deal with lack of electricity for storage before accessing the market? I said earlier that we can access other electricity options like solar. In fact, we can access clean energy options. We have other options like generating electricity from waste, although it's not a developed option now, but it's an option that can be accessed too. There are people who generate electricity from waste, but the more available option is solar energy. Okay. We don't have it all yet perfected in the agri sector. However, we believe that together, when we keep working towards that, we will have a perfect agri sector where we can have good storage for our post-harvest crops and livestock. Thank you all for your time. Yeah.
in specific terms. You did not, tell us how